who had some land in eastern Washington. And on his land this man he had a deep dark hole upon. People came from miles around to throw their trash down in to see how deep the hole was and listen for its end. Then one day, that fateful day, they forced Mel off his land. They paid him off and sent him off down under with a plan. They hid Mel's hole and covered it up so ne'er it could be found, so no one would ever know what's deep down in Mel's ground. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-oh. There's no bottom to Mel's hole. So if you chance to find yourself in eastern Washington and hear the legend of Mel's Hole, be wary, my dear one. Don't ride alone at night on that Manastash Ridge, but listen carefully to the moaning deep within.
Hey, this is Gary from Night Dreams Talk Radio. I want to welcome a new sponsor to our show, PhoenixShaving.com. I know what you're thinking, right? Oh, another disposable razor company. Well, the fact is they're not. You remember the razors that your father and his father shaved with? Did you ever notice they didn't have, well, the embarrassing razor burn or ingrown hairs or the razor bumps after they shaved? Did you notice they were also relaxed after they were done shaving? Well, the problem is these big corporations want to sell you razor after razor after razor. Think about how much money you spend a year on razors. Or do you use electric razor? Then you're going to find out what razor burn is. So you need to check out Phoenix Shaving Starter Kits. They come complete with the soap, the brush, and a 2.5-month supply of blades. And the most important part of it, an all-metal razor, built to last generations. So, hey, you can donate it to one of your sons when they turn 18. Check out PhoenixShaving.com and tell them that Gary from Night Dream said, hey, I want one. That's PhoenixShaving.com now.
Check out Night Dream's website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com.
Well, hi, everyone. This is Gary at Night Dreams Talk Radio. Tonight, well, I'm happy to say we got Ron Morehead on, and he is the person that's noted for catching, bigfoot sounds, the sounds when you're out camping and you just can't figure out what it is, or when you're out deep in the woods. Hey, Ron, are you there?
I am.
Well, how's your day going?
It's going great, thank you. Been out all day in the river, so it's been a nice, fulfilling day. Thank you.
Well, yeah, this is the time of year. I ride a motorcycle, I ride a Harley, and yeah, I rode Hondas too, so I'm just as happy with a Honda. But, this is the time of year I really like getting out more than, around, late July or early August. It's the weather's, to me, I like this temperature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was only 58 degrees today, but that was way up past Forks here on the Olympic Peninsula.
Oh,
and it was a nice day, though. It didn't rain on us or nothing. It was a very, very good day.
Oh, Forks. I started my radio career back in early or mid-'70s in the station in Forks. I kind of enjoyed it, but at that time it was kind of, I don't know, a strange format. They hired me to bring Top 40 in, but then after I started playing Top 40, they didn't like it. They'd rather go back to country. But what could I say? I did like living in the area there. A lot of things to do.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a beautiful area, beautiful country.
Oh, yeah. So what got you, well, before we go that, why don't we find out what you actually do, and why don't you tell the listeners?
What I do now or what I did then? What I do now is talk to radio people.
yeah, hopefully, yes.
I'm retired from business. I was fortunate enough to be in a very lucrative business in my younger days. I retired a little over 10 years ago, probably. But prior to that, though, I was my own boss, and I did well, and I was able to travel a lot and explore this Sasquatch situation all over the world, really. Been in Nepal and Peru, into Siberia, quite a few places, really. I spoke at the Darwin Museum of National Science in Moscow.
Oh, wow.
With some professors and things, and it's been an experience. I've been trying to see what, if anything, other entities all over the world might have to do with the ones that we ran into here in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California years ago. And so I've been exploring this, and since 1971. I wasn't into it at all prior to this. I was part of a hunting group, and there's about 8 miles trek back into the wilderness, a very remote wilderness camp, imposing area, really. And these things started coming around our camp at night after we'd go inside this little beaver's nest shelter we had, and they'd start making their sounds. At first, it was thought it was a bear until the Johnson brothers, who was the only two up there when it first started, they went out and seen this huge track in the mud and realized that that's not a bear, and the sound certainly didn't represent a bear. And they were avid hunters, so they've been going there since the 50s. So anyway, we all got, I wasn't there at that first encounter, but they came out, told us the story, and we went back up, and that's when I got involved, really, in the Bigfoot research, because these things have a big foot. And they're huge. And they have a big sound, too, which you'll hear later. But anyway, it's been an exciting adventure for me. And I've been searching for the answer ever since, because so many strange things happen to us up there, not just the sounds, but other things, too, which kind of got me into quantum physics. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. So.
Oh, no, that's fine. I mean, we got time. Have you physically ran into a Bigfoot?
No, I never ran into them. They always get out of the way when they see me coming.
Well,
like they do with everybody. Actually, I've seen one though up there. I saw one a night. Actually, when one of the recordings you'll play later was happening. That's the night I witnessed one, and they're very, very elusive, and they're very, very fast, and they're just extremely hard to get a finger on there. It's like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. That's what I tell people. You can't hardly do it.
Well, we're on myself back in the early 2000s. I used to manage a chain of camera stores up in the Tacoma, Puyallup area and stuff like that. And one of my good clients, used to come in. He was a medical doctor. He just got done doing his internship. And he goes, well, hey, Gary, why don't we go on a road trip? And I go, well, where? He goes, well, you like doing ghost town pictures. Let's go Canadian Rockies. And, we did that, and I actually ran into a Bigfoot. And
wow.
And put it this way, that's scared me so bad. For years, I would actually have nightmares because, people will say, oh, Bigfoot are friendly, all this stuff. Well, at least in our encounter with me and my friend, it was not a friendly encounter, and it's one I would never want to go and be involved in, going into a situation out deep in the woods and stumble across one.
I tell people that a lot of people think they're all benevolent, just, they're all want to be friends with you. Well, that's not true, I don't think. I think there's different kinds. There's different, like us, there's good ones and bad ones, but there's also, I think, possibly different genomes out there, which means almost a different species. But I think this is just my opinion, because there's no real hard fact DNA out yet, just a couple ones that have not been accepted. But I think they are part human. They have a hybrid effect to them. And anyway, one of the geneticists actually came out with that, and she's been discounted because she could never positively identify the other half of what it was, what the father was. The maternal part of these of the DNA that she ran down was human, and a lot of the samples that are sent in for geneticists, they show as soon as they see the mitochondrial DNA is human, they say, well, it's contaminated. And so they think, well, why am I going further? Because once you try to find the other part, find the whole genome, it's very, very expensive, and no one wants to go through that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I know that one doctor claimed that, she had DNA evidence, and, she supposedly, proved it, but then again, she got slammed really heavy.
Yeah, that was Dr. Ketchum. That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And she had 108 samples, and maybe she'll get vindicated one of these days. As soon as another geneticist corroborates, and there's some DNA work being done right now on different samples from different places by different geneticists. So if she gets her work corroborated by another geneticist, well, they'll pay attention to her maybe a better. Because she swears up and down that nothing was contaminated in her samples. She did not contaminate them, and but yeah, she was really racked over the coals, and that's too bad. I think she's a nice person, but
well, again, they just don't want. Well, you got a certain group of people that say they exist. You got a certain part it says, hey, it's all faked. But when you ran across one, or in the case like with you recording them, okay, there is something definitely out there. And, like in the case where we ran in, we probably were maybe 1,000 feet away from it when we saw it. And it didn't see us at first. We were out there, doing pictures of an old internment camp, Japanese World War II internment camp up in the Canadian Rockies. And my friend says, hey, Gary, look at that huge bear over there. And, we had no guns or anything. I just had my cameras, and I looked through my camera, the telephoto lens, and I said to my friend, that isn't a bear. And right when I said that, it noticed us, and it put out a scream that it scared me like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Well, they got some pipes on, that's for sure. Did it come towards you or just take off?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly, and some people, I have kept this quiet. My friend kept it quiet because he just opened up at that time, a medical practice up in Puyallup, and he wasn't even open yet. I mean, he just got, everything set up to open after the trip because he served his internship. So he was really scared, that he didn't want it brought out that we saw a Bigfoot, especially around 2000, because people would label you. As maybe not being all there. Yeah, it actually did. And the thing came after us. It ran on 2 legs, and then it went down to 4, the 2 arms, and then back up. It didn't just run on 2 legs. So that's what I saw. And the funny thing is, we were about 2 miles away from where the car was parked. It was an isolated spot up there, especially the time of year we're up in the Canadian Rockies on that road. And by the time, I don't know if it was its mate or another one, but we got up to the car, and I was getting in the car, and it was, or its mate or whatever, was standing by a tree, probably 25, maybe 30 feet away from the car, bending a tree over and screaming at us. And all I remember is I got in the car, got it started. My friend was getting his leg in the car. I was dragging him as we were taking off. And believe it or not, my wife let me take her brand new car on the trip because she didn't think our regular car I had would make a long trip. So she had a brand new, at the time, Cavalier. And the sucker threw a rock. It hit the passenger front fender, put a huge dent in it. I came home and I told my wife the truth, and she looked at me and she goes, "What were you smoking?"
Yeah. Well, they can be that way if they don't want you around. Sometimes I think maybe it's because there's a young one around or you're in their area and they just don't want you there for one reason or another. Maybe they're mating. I don't know. But there's only been one time that a rock's been thrown at me and one of my associates, Al Berry, who was an investigative reporter that we took into our camp that fostered the sounds at the University of Wyoming to prove that they were